Currently, we've got about 4.8 gigawatts of capacity either in construction or in operation. In fact, and out of that 4.8 gigawatts, approximately 65% is in full operation. There's a relatively small chunk in partial operation. The rest is in construction. This particular loan was raised outside of the Philippines, so it'll be devoted to our international portfolio rather than what we're doing here. And I'd say at the moment, Australia and India are our two fastest growing markets outside of the Philippines when it comes to immediate capacity expansion. This is for what is called Yoma Micropower, and this is really to provide solar-powered solutions for cell phone towers that are being either owned or being constructed by our sister company, Globe. Cell phone towers typically need to have backup generators. So rather than relying on diesel generators, as has been the case in the past, everybody would, and we in particular in the group, would like to move to renewable solutions. We have if you like, a hub of wind projects that are being built in Quezon province. And the first phase of that, which we call Quezon North Phase 1, will be most likely a 345 megawatt project that we won a GAP tariff for under the Department of Energy's program last year. Overall site, including the land that Real Wind Energy has access to. Ultimately, this will scale up to become probably the largest cluster of wind farms in the whole of the Philippines. Are we on track to achieve that? And the answer is yes. In fact, to be honest with you, we have a pipeline of projects across all of these different countries that is more than 20 gigawatts, even today. So I'm really quite confident that if all the usual challenges that are involved in building large renewable projects can be overcome, we can get there. We are most excited right now, I would say, by the introduction of storage, energy storage, as a component of all this, because it's all very well having literally tens, hundreds of gigawatts of intermittent solar, wind, what have you, if you can't actually store the energy that's produced in the middle of the day, let's say, and then dispatch it in the evening peak and through the night. Ultimately, if renewable energy is to be the solution for countries like the Philippines and Australia, etc., there has to be a significant build out of energy storage. And that will take many forms. It won't be one solution. Batteries, I think, will be dominant in that solution set. I certainly think that goal is achievable, but it does require a few things to come together. It requires government, it requires political will. I mean, these things always require political will. You need an overall regulatory environment, including a pricing environment that is sufficiently rewarding for all of these private sector players to participate in. We also need access to transmission. There's no point in us building a power plant if we can't get the electrons to the consumer. We as a company have taken the approach of putting a lot of investment into our own transmission lines to connect from our plants to NGCP's trunk grid, which is fine. But we ultimately, as a country here in the Philippines, everybody needs transmission to keep pace with the government's vision on renewable energy and what we on the generation side are keen to do. Because if the transmission access is there, the funding the demand is certainly there. We've got access to a lot of good sites, and we know that the funding is there as well, because banks are very keen to lend to renewable energy projects.